Well, good afternoon, good morning to all of you, depending on what part of the country you are in. My name is Brady Feaster. I am a franchise consultant with FranNet alongside Todd Feaster, who's a FranNet consultant as well. And we are here. We are, 8 days removed from the most consequential election in our lifetime. We're all tired of hearing that. The text messages of stops from Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, him or herself. The election ads are done bombarding us during football games. The dust has settled, and for good measure, we're here to talk about the election one more time. Don't worry, we're not going to talk to you at all about our political opinions. That's certainly not why you are here. What we've heard in the franchising space over the past handful of months leading up to this election, there's a lot of angst in the marketplace economically around either result, depending on who you ask. And so what lots of folks are looking to do is hedge their bets in a way against any sort of positive, negative reaction in the economy, depending on how the election is played out. And so what we have found in the franchising space is there are certain concepts, certain products and services that folks in the franchising space offer that people are going to need, and they're going to use, and they're going to buy regardless of who is in the Oval Office. There's going to be demand that's steady, even if our economy, the stock market, the global climate completely implodes. We have three concepts on today that Todd and I have put a lot of thought into. We've really wanted to make sure that we're bringing three of the top concepts that provide election-resistant services. So Donald Trump won. He is going to be the next president of the United States. Depending on who you ask, that's a great thing. It might be a horrible thing. Regardless of how you see the next 4 years going, we're pretty confident that these three franchise concepts that are in the residential and commercial restoration space, in the in-home healthcare space, and in the HVAC trade space, people are still going to have a demand for this. No matter how you see these next 4 years going. So that's our goal today. Excited to highlight these concepts. Like I said, my name is Brady Feaster, and I am a franchise consultant with FranNet. And if you're not familiar with franchising, essentially what that means is I'm a real estate agent, but instead of helping you find a house, I help you find a franchise to own. And so similar to how a real estate agent is going to help you find that dream home, we work with about 300 different franchise concepts and walk people through somewhere between an art and a science of landing on that ideal franchise. My dad, Todd, who's on this call, bought this FranNet business 13 years ago. So I grew up with the front row seat to business ownership. Learned to really love it, learned to really embrace it. I joined him 2 years ago after a background in sports, and still get to scratch the sports itch a little bit by coaching high school football here locally for my alma mater. And so what I tell folks is I spend my entire days coaching, whether that's coaching 16-year-olds on how to make a tackle, how to ask the cute girl in math class out on a date, or just navigating life as a 16-year-old, or I get to coach folks like you on what it might look like to own their own business and achieve the goal of entrepreneurship. So that's a little bit about me. Would also love to introduce Todd over to you as well.
So thanks, Brady, for organizing this. We're thrilled that our franchise partners are on here. I think you all are going to just really enjoy hearing about these businesses. My whole corporate career can be summed up that I'm a lousy employee. And it just took me 20 years to figure that out and to find my right path. I'm a coach at heart also. The big reason I got into this is so I could coach Brady, his older brother, his two younger sisters, all through their high school and elementary careers, and which was a ton of fun. But I get to coach a lot of folks also. And this has given me an opportunity to coach other folks in finance, accounting, and mergers and acquisitions in a few of our other businesses. The whole entrepreneurial journey is fantastic. It's where economic growth is coming. No matter what side of the aisle you are, if you're a red state or a blue state, it's about employing people. And we're here to help people realize a potential dream that they may have of business ownership. We have franchising in our blood. My grandparents were some of the first Dairy Queen franchisees in the United States, in Northern Ohio. So I came from an entrepreneurial family. I started my corporate career. Didn't work out so well for me. Been doing this for the last 12 years or so, and it's been fantastic. So we're thrilled to have our partners on here and thrilled to be working with you all.
So like Todd said, we're with FranNet, and what we do is we help people like you who are interested in business ownership find the right franchise to own. And so it's an educational process. It's not a sales process. We want to make sure that we provide you with some of the best choices. We got 3 on today that we think are some of they're on our what's called horses list. But those are the best of the best, the franchises that we've vetted, that we've worked with, that we've had clients have good experiences with. Part of that is we want to do some of the pre-screening for you so that you're able to do your due diligence. We are not here to sell you franchises. And I feel really good about being able to say that the 3 folks who are on here today are not here to sell you franchises. We're all here with the common goal of giving you the very best fit that you possibly can, that you can find, whether it's one of these 3 brands or another. The part that I love about this process is it's 100% free. So we help you find the right franchise. If you find that franchise that we introduce you to, we get paid a referral fee from those franchises. Folks pay no more, no less for working with us. So that's a part of our process that we really enjoy. I'll put this up at the end as well. But if you'd like to learn more about any of these 3 concepts, if you'd like to explore business ownership, we have a profile called the Entrepreneur Profile. This is the starting point for our entire process. FranNet's been in business for 30 plus years, and we spent those 30 plus years developing this behavioral personality profile that allows us to say, based on how you profile out, here are the types of franchises that are going to be a good fit, that folks with a similar skill set to you have had a track record of being successful in. So again, please feel free to access this QR code that's up on our screen here to take the next steps and be introduced to any of these 3 concepts or any of the others that are in our inventory of 300 or so franchise concepts. So that is going to be where I pause for the time being. We have 3 fantastic franchisors. We have Stephanie Ryan from True North Restoration. We have Greg Kling with Assisting Hands. And then we have Chris Fallon from Varsity Zone and Horsepower Brand. So we're going to start with our friend Stephanie right now. And she's going to give us a 10-minute or so piece on what she does and what has her excited about True North Restoration. So Stephanie, take it away. I think you might be muted, Stephanie.
Technology. Thank you.
There we are. Here we go.
Yep, all good.
I was trying to be polite and not have my dog bark. Yeah. So thank you all for taking the time out of your precious day. We really appreciate this opportunity. I echo everything that Brady and Todd say. So listen, at the end of the day, I got 10 minutes. It's not enough to tell you everything. If there's an inkling of something that it tracks you, let the guys know, and then we could have at least a good 45 minutes to dig deeper. So, but I'll do my best. So bear with me, and I'm excited to share what we have to offer about True North Restoration. And now it's the technology, right? And here we are. It's not moving forward. Ay, ay, ay. We practiced. What the heck?
We really did. We really did.
Bear with me. Let's see.
That's okay.
Tell me. So sorry. All right.
No worries at all.
Is this working? No, that's not working either. Yeah? Did we move?
There it is. Perfect.
Okay. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on me, but I've got a variety of experiences. I am in agreement with Brady and Todd. I'm here to consult you as well. That's really what my ultimate goal is, to help you figure out what's the best brand for you. I may be it, or I may not be. But what we really focus on is not just restoration. And I know people say, oh gosh, another restoration. We do have a little bit of a niche. Our culture is a big piece of it, where we really focus on restoring people's lives, not just their homes or their properties. We also have a servitude mentality, which would sort of fall into what some would call a faith-based concept. We don't indoctrinate people. There's no fish and loaves. It's more about the attitude of stewarding. As a franchisee, you want to steward your community. Our leadership wants to steward you to find your true north. These are some of our core values that if we connect, I would love to dig even deeper into. But I'm going to move on to what some highlights are that you might be more interested in. So restoration, water, fire, mold is usually the typical, right? It is an essential service and it's in a massive industry. Just consider one home can have multiple jobs, right? It could be a washing machine. It could be a refrigerator. It could be a water tank. Like there's so many just in that little space. So there's plenty of room for all of us. There is no high pressure sales. When folks are in the need of restoration, it is a need. It is not a want. They're not getting lots of quotes and they're not dabbling with time. This is definitely more emergent. You do not need any experience. I have many franchisees that were project managers in the IT world, in corporate America for years, and have become very successful franchisees. I have some folks that were bankers. So really any industry, this is not brain surgery. So we are able to help educate you and you will then be successful to educate your employees. Next line item is very few employees are necessary to launch this. We are, you can start out with one other employee with yourself or maybe three, depending on how well capitalized you are, how quickly you want to ramp, which is the next bullet point. We are very scalable. There's a very quick ramp up from the day you sign your franchise. You could be open for your first job in 90 days. We have an extremely low investment range for really how well that you can do. Our average gross revenue in our item 19 is 1.5 million. We are recession proof, election proof, pandemic proof, and kind of even AI proof. You know, that's an important factor people are looking into these days too in the long-term scale of business and our future. So we may be able to AI some of the equipment, but people can never be AI'd because every job is different and empathy cannot be recreated with an AI. So we fall into a very safe space. We are currently offering massive territories. We are offering 250 to 350,000 in population in just one territory. You can have multiple territories, but we designed this model to be able to allow you to just pay one franchise fee and be able to steward a very large community and also be able to reach financial heights. We do have tons of open territory as a younger brand. We have 22 territories sold now. So that means I have a lot of open space and we would love to get that growing more quickly in 2025. Our services range even past the restoration world of water, fire, mold. You can also do biohazard. You can do, I call it sanitation and disinfecting. Imagine illegal drug situations, hospital systems that need to be sanitized. You have equipment that allows you to do more than what people think, just water, fire, mold. And we have the processes set in place to help you be successful in whatever space you feel would benefit your community. We also step into asbestos in some states. And a more important statement is not only can you help your local community in residential damage, but we allow our franchisees to do commercial and large loss damage. We have a very nice program that we can talk about where our other franchisees love to steward each other. I cannot emphasize enough that culture space that we have. So a large loss that might happen in your state or in your territory may be impacting hundreds of people. You alone may not be able to do it, but our other franchisees will love to come in and support you. And we could talk more about how that works in the finer details. And finally, we do offer catastrophic damage opportunities. If there is a massive, another Hurricane Katrina, wildfires in California, corporate may be able to head in there and you have an opportunity to impact thousands of people for either a week's time, a month's time. We get to work with you, but all of these are additional revenue sources. So in my opinion, this is not a seasonal business. Homes alone, where there's water and gravity, there is damage 12 months out of the year. You have opportunities to storm chase if you wanted, and you can help other franchisees grow as well as yourself. So lots of ways. A day in the life, not too complicated. We are an owner operator to start business. I like to comment on that. We do like you to get into what we call the executive model. You would be managing all of these responsibilities in the beginning. The best franchise owner for True North is someone who knows how to do everything. And you would start out with a suggestion of, as I said, maybe one additional person or at least two. We'll talk more about how you iron that out if you connect with me for a longer presentation. But what we would like you to do after maybe your year, that you then start growing into this more empire status. So you would be the puppeteer at the top, and you would have various divisions. Maybe you have a water and an asbestos or fire, lots of ways to grow it into a multi-million-dollar business. We have multiple ways to help you get known in your community. We do digital marketing just like other people. We also highlight that we like to do good old-fashioned boots on the ground. I say shaking hands and kissing babies kind of marketing. We want it to be evenly distributed. This is our vendor partner for digital support. We have processes to help you feel comfortable doing boots on the ground. And then, of course, we have insurance companies that we work with. So once you sign, how are we going to help you grow? Well, the start is this awesome training program. It is set out into 3 phases. 0 is day 1. And then we have a 30, 60, 90-day process for you to get to your grand opening, which actually means you can start taking jobs. This is an example that we have a very efficient onboarding and launch process. One of your first meetings with our CEO and COO will happen with this amazing Gantt chart. I'm going quick because I know I got 10 minutes and I need someone to just give me a quick warning. So what else we have is 24/7 know-how. This is what I call the YouTube channel for True North. We have all videos to help you and your team after training. You have 24-hour access to be able to at any time pull up even the most simplest of how do I turn on that DQ? I've totally forgotten. So once you're launched, successful, you're like, what else are you going to do for us? Well, we have lots of ongoing support, including strategic planning reviews to see, are you at your growth potential? How can we help you get bigger and better? We have customized marketing plans individual to your budget, to you and your community. And we do have an annual conference. I am going to fly through these next slides because I want you to understand that we have partnerships with other spaces to help you in different parts of the business. The biggest one, partnership with your other True North owners. Truthfully, you're not only in business for yourself and not by yourself with corporate, but with your other franchisees. We are extremely active. I use the word family, but I want no one to think that we are small-minded. We are just very supportive in stewarding each other to success. We have partnerships that are going to feed your business. We have partnerships that help you do those large losses that I talked about, and you were able to take those even before you launch. I have a short story of Savannah, Georgia. If you, anybody on the East Coast, we recently had some weather, pending hurricane. Our new franchisee down there wasn't even to the grand opening. Our COO and CEO dashed down there to help them, utilizing these different partnerships in order for him to take on all of these jobs that hit him like this. So he did not lose any opportunity for revenue, but more importantly, to not lose his reputation as a community resource. We have partnerships to run your business. We have third-party administrative partnerships or insurance agents in order for you to also get additional business opportunities. My discovery process is hook up with the guys, Todd and Brady, and then they will connect you to me. And then we will go through this very rhythmic but supportive and sort of consultative opportunity, layered to layered, so that you would really understand all there is to know that's awesome about True North Restoration. Thank you. And I love the African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together and join True North Restoration.
Great. Well, thank you so much for that, Stephanie. It was really enlightening. We do need to get on to our new our second franchise concept here, which is assisting hands. And so Greg Kling is joining us, and we mentioned earlier, Greg is a franchisee as well as an area developer with Assisting Hands, and Greg was a client of ours 11 years ago. We helped him acquire Assisting Hands, and so he has the ability not only to run and operate his Assisting Hands operation, but also does a really good job of bringing other folks into the mix with Assisting Hands. So Greg, we will turn it over to you.
So my mic was muted as well. So thank you, Brady. I do not have any slides. Really just wanted to have a conversation about Assisting Hands Home Care, kind of my role, who we are as an organization, and what we do. And first of all, I want to encourage you, whether it's Assisting Hands or any business opportunity, owning your own business is fantastic. And Todd and his team do a fantastic job of helping you get launched, right? So really, really like that. So basically, Assisting Hands Home Care is what we do is we provide care for people in their homes. We've been in business since 2006. And so we do things like if your mom, if you think about it, your mom, if you need care for, somebody bathing, somebody toileting them, right? If they need help, if they have dementia needs, or care, they can't be alone, right? Or maybe they had a fall, they need help right away. And so we're coming into homes, helping them every single day with all those activities of daily living, right? So we always say, so a son and daughter can be a son or daughter. We can go in, we can do the heavy lifting. And we started our own business because we had a personal situation where we cared for my mother-in-law in her home, right? And so since then, it's been really just a fantastic journey. It hasn't something, I had no experience in this type of industry, so it's something that you don't have to have any experience. I think if you have good general business acumen, you can be successful in this. Just a little bit of rundown on Assisting Hands Home Care. So we have about 80 offices open nationally. Okay, it is about $94,000 to $176,000 is kind of what you need to get started, plus an additional $55,000 franchise fee, plus enough income so that you can sustain yourself for a year while the business is ramping up. So those are kind of the three key qualifiers to think about as you start to look for the investment. But it is pretty rapid investment, pretty rapid opening, depending on the market you're in. Sometimes there's licensing that you have to deal with. Sometimes there's not. But the key thing that you have to ask yourself if Assisting Hands is right for you is, do you have the heart? Do you have some type of connection? The people that are most successful are people who have some type of connection. Either they personally had to care for a loved one in the past, or they have had that experience where they had to organize care for mom or dad, those types of things. And so that's kind of the best person because they get it. They understand the need. And that was our situation as well. So what's it like to be a, day in the life as an owner, right? So, I started 11 years ago and we've been very, very successful. Last year, we did over $10 million in revenue and we have about 250 employees. And people ask, would you do it again? And so the answer is yes, I have, and I am doing it again. So what's it like, right? So, very early on, what you're going to do is you're going to go out and meet people and talk to people in the marketplace, right? And so we're trying to get business from people like assisted living communities, hospitals, rehab communities, meeting with them to real clients as well. And at the same time, you'll be developing a team that is really going to be looking after trying to identify caregivers, right? So it's really about a lot of this is identifying clients and then managing your workforce team. And so that's kind of really the goal and kind of what you're trying to do on a day-to-day basis. And right. So somebody has the needs or desires for, providing a positive impact to people in the community. This is absolutely a great business to get into. All right. So some other things about the organization, okay, is and why this is call it election or economic resistant, is that we are not a luxury item, right? If you need care for mom, you need care for mom. You may have to go to work, and if mom had an injury or maybe she's declining, mom needs someone to come over and check on her. And with the growing aging population and the number of children that each family is having is reducing, there's going to be continuous demand for this type of a business. And so it's very resistant. It's also COVID resistant, right? So we grew 20% during COVID, and we've never had a year where our revenue has declined, right? So it's going to be a business that is very resistant, as well as healthcare in general is going to be very resistant. There's also, from an economic perspective, there's more interest in the federal government to provide funding for these types of services. And so it's moving in that direction as well. So as population growth continues to grow, this is absolutely a good opportunity. In terms of moving forward, if you decide that, hey, this might be something that you'd be interested in, you'd have a conversation with myself or Dan Durney. We'd walk you through the onboarding process. You would go out to meet with our franchise CEO and the team. They're in Boise, Idaho. You go get to spend time with his family at their ranch, which is a really, really nice experience. Ride some horses and learn about the organization. And we're really, really proud. We call it our family of franchise owners. And I actually just came back from a meeting last week with 4 of my fellow owners. We got together, just talk about the business and what is successful, what's working and not working. And that was kind of really, really, enlightening in terms of, what's working for them, what's working for us, and different ways to, manage the business. And then we meet annually as an overall organization to share ideas and learn about new things from an organization and overall franchise support as well. You would go to, most likely, depending where you're at, you go to Florida for week of education. And then you'd have a coach that's assigned to you. That could be somebody like me, who is a franchise owner, area developer, or it could be someone from our national office to really guide you through the process and coach you on a weekly, bi-weekly basis through the process, right? So that's really, in a nutshell, it. I personally believe it's a great business, it's a great positive impact business, and for sure, best decision I ever made professionally. And my wife and I work in the business together, and we love it. And I've got 2 children now who are in the business as well. And so hopefully they'll take over someday. And it's just overall been a great experience. So would love to have you think about Assisting Hands.
Well, appreciate that so much, Greg.
Hey,
we have a
Brady,
couple
can
minutes
I hop
left.
In here real quick? Sorry
Please do.
So, so I had the opportunity to meet Greg and Kim, like they said, 11 years ago. And Greg came out of Deloitte and private equity and large corporations. And he was very focused on wanting to be in the aging baby boomer demographic based on their experiences with his mother-in-law. And folks come to us saying, hey, I want to be in a certain industry. I want to be with a certain demographic. Or, hey, I just want to make money, or I want to be in a brand that can grow fast. And so, really whatever your motivation is, whether you want to, focus on an industry, or you want to focus on a demographic, or you want to focus on control of your own destiny. That's really what this is all about. And since Greg is an area developer, he's part of the franchisor, very similar to Stephanie and Chris, but he's also a franchisee. In what, what Greg and Kim are, they're empire builders. They own 6 markets. They're area developers. They have hundreds of W-2 employees. So whether you want to be a single territory operator or you want to be a multi-territory empire builder, there's all kinds of options out there for you, depending on what your motivations are. So didn't mean to interrupt the flow here or there, but I think that's important for everybody to know, is that, Greg is kind of playing a dual role here, franchisor support and franchisee.
Well, Todd mentioned it, and the idea, Greg, that you are a franchisee. You went through our process 11 years ago. If you could, in the next 2 minutes or so, just give us a little bit of your background, your story, what drew you to the franchising world, what were you looking for, what was your process and the due diligence process like, and what ultimately led you to land on Assisting Hands?
Yeah, sure. So no, absolutely right. So I had been looking to make a change. I had always wanted to start a business, and because of our past life experience, I knew that getting in the space, the home care space, was a definite opportunity for us. And I had actually started looking at different concepts myself. Then got hooked up with Todd. And then what I liked about the process Todd took you through was that it was kind of very systematic. It was very driven upon questions and your unique talents and your unique desires, and then putting various concepts in front of you that you could then walk through and assess, right? And every something is unique, right? Somebody's definition of success in one business or one market is their definition of a success. It's not your definition of a success. And so you have to feel comfortable with the individual franchisees as you work through that process, the conversations and the vetting process that you go through, right? Somebody making $60,000 a year may be ecstatic and loving their life. And for me, that just wouldn't work for us financially, right? So working through that process and then that vetting process, and then really narrowing it down to, okay, this is the concept that I like. This is the franchise organization that I like, guiding us through that process. And what I like is that it's very potential franchisee driven, which is what I think it needs to be. Because if you do not, as a franchisee, have the energy and motivation and drive to go make something happen, nobody can make it happen for you, right? So it's a consultative, it's a guiding process that you really have to lead as a franchisee. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. But then when you're ready to go, you can move pretty quickly, right? And I did it. I jumped. My wife and I remember sitting down in our office. We looked at all the economics. We knew we knew what success was. We knew what success wasn't, and we made the leap. And we're very, very grateful that we did.
Well, we always appreciate that. Appreciate hearing success stories, folks who wanted to build an empire but didn't know what that empire was, and found franchising as the vehicle for that. So grateful for that. Appreciate your insight with that, Greg. What I'd like to do now is introduce Chris from Horsepower Brands and Varsity Zone. So Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself, Horsepower Brands, and all the good things going on with Varsity Zone.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. And I think this is super beneficial. A lot like people that are probably tuning in, when I first got into franchising, I didn't even know franchising existed outside of Jimmy John's and Taco Bell, that you could even get into things like home service and some of the things that are being shared about today. So want to talk a little bit about Varsity Zone, but prior to doing that, and then Brady, can you see my screen? Does it show the Varsity Zones?
Gotcha.
Perfect. Awesome. So before I get into Varsity Zone, which is our HVAC concept, I want to talk about our parent company, which is Horsepower Brands. So we're a franchisor in the home service space. So we've got 9 home service brands that we franchise out across America. We started in the roofing sector during COVID. I still remember people thought we were crazy. They said, that's the most saturated home service and the least trusted, and there's no barrier to entry. Anybody with 10 grand in the hammer can compete against you. The thing I want you to take away from the call about horsepower is we're a sales, marketing, and technology company. We really pick on home service because we know there's a lot of fragmentation, a lot of mom and pop competition, and still a lot of unsophistication as far as the customer journey. So we leverage, the customer journey. We didn't get on a roof like everyone else on a ladder. We flew drones over the house, showed you what was wrong with it on an iPad, and then offered you financing. That's how we quickly became an 800-pound gorilla in roofing, and then, grew into lighting, spray foam, lawn care, glass, power washing, painting, blinds, fencing, and then now the HVAC sector. So we've got about 430 franchisees across America. What makes us so unique as a partner is we don't rely on third-party affiliates to make the business work. So we have all of our shared services in-house and about 250 corporate employees that support our franchisees and their business on a daily basis. So we do recruitment, financials, marketing, call centers, fleet management, benefits, partnerships, so where we go win you national accounts that benefit you at the local level. So again, it's really about the infrastructure and support of being that vehicle to help people get to that return of investment, exit corporate America, leave family legacy wealth. That's why we get out of bed every day, is to service our franchisees and be able to provide a platform for them to be as successful as they want. We've got a lot of multi-brand owners, so people that own multiple brands of ours inside their protected territory, which I think speaks volumes of who we as a partner. It's all about the infrastructure and support for why they are able to do so. Now, when you look at HVAC, we're talking about election resistant. We can talk COVID resistant, anything else that the modern day Oregon Trail is going to throw at us. HVAC's the top of that list. About the most essential thing you could get into. I always kind of joke with candidates, if you want to test your marriage, turn that air conditioner off in the heat of summer and see how strong that marriage is, or same in the dead, frigid of the winter. So when you look at this industry as a whole, set to exceed $67 billion by 2030. There's a reason private equity is trying to figure out how to get into the HVAC space right now. When you look at horsepower and what we do, being a sales, marketing, technology company, we bridge the gap of industry knowledge by building out a leadership team that would train, support, and work inside the business of our franchisees on a daily basis. So all of our franchisees that are here at Horsepower, no one came from the industry. They've all been people like yourself that have been successful in other realms of business that really want a playbook that they can go and execute on, to where when that play is executed, everybody wins. So this brand team right here has about 50 years of HVAC experience, and they have a lot of kudos alongside them. They were the people behind 1 Hour Heating and Air. If you Google them, they are an absolute juggernaut in the HVAC franchise space, sold out across America, and is one of the most nationally recognized HVAC companies in America. They saw everything Horsepower had from a support level, saw the opportunity to come in and do it from the ground level and build something to the national scale again. So we're super excited to have these gentlemen alongside us. And again, these would be the people training, grooming, and developing you and your staff on a daily basis. When you think of HVAC, the types of services that we'll offer will be obviously everything from an air conditioner to a furnace and in between. We talking about 3 real buckets of revenue. So your first bucket of revenue is going to be your big ticket ability, people that want to have a new furnace or a new air conditioner installed. The second, revenue stream would be, all your service calls, demand calls, repair calls. Hey, my fan's spinning, but there's no cold air coming out. And then the third is going to be, people that sign up for those annuity-based service contracts for the year, which is great reoccurring residual revenue to build a really healthy, sustainable, profitable business long-term. We do residential and commercial work in all of the brands that Horsepower rolls out. We really like to stay residential focused first, get the brand up off the ground, get the brand awareness, and then really be able to drive, commercial growth through partnerships. Again, we have really large HOA property management companies like Associate and Greystar, to where when you drop this thing, we're working on apartments, condos, et cetera, right out of the gate. I want to go down here and kind of talk about how we do territories. We do it based upon total population. So when you're a franchisee, you would own a protected territory that no one could work inside. So we do it based upon the population. And then as we get further into kind of what the requirements are, we have some sort of commercial flex space for this. We outfit and wrap all the vehicles that our franchisees have. You could imagine when we launched this thing during COVID, we were really worried about supply chain. So we had 2,500 chassis we bought. We outfit and wrap these vehicles in Omaha, Nebraska. And all of our technology and systems, they all talk to each other. So we can actually see when you're getting at capacity for customer count, to where we can ship that next vehicle to you, so you're not leaving, work out there that can't be done because you don't have the right vehicles and equipment. And then this is an example of kind of the truck that we have, the drop gate, to where, when we're switching out furnaces, air conditioners, we have the right vehicles for the team to do so. Now, when it comes to ownership, because we have all the vertical support in-house, we are able to cater to two types of owners. One is your owner-operator, someone that wants to be involved in the day-to-day of the business, really be the mayor and the face. And then a lot of our owners are semi-involved, people that really want to hire a team and hold that GM accountable to the day-to-day of that business and really manage that GM and the data above it. Because of, like I said, the vertical integration, that is able to have, real-time data for you as a business owner when you don't have to rely on third-party marketing, call centers, efficiency, right? Understanding the numbers, seeing the numbers in real time so you can pull the correct levers to get to profitability faster with all that internal data. We start off with, 2 employees for this one. You have a technician who would have the licensing to unlock the business in HVAC. That would really be your GM. And then you'd have a salesperson that's going out and winning that business that we would continuously, build and scale. As this thing really moves forward, you're really hiring technicians as the sales continuously increase and we grow further footprint into your market. And want to spend a second here on what I think is the big differentiators, right? There's hundreds of HVAC companies, right? When you think home service, it's going to be saturated, but again, it's going to be a lot of mom and pop. So what's the value proposition that you bring that someone would use Varsity Zone instead of Andy's AC? It's the vendors and the partners. So Carrier, they're the Coca-Cola of HVAC. Being able to offer them out of the gate is instant credibility in the market for a lot of our franchisees. Green Sky, you talk about a different customer experience. Green Sky is consumer financing in the HVAC space. So my heater goes out in, February. I live here in Omaha, Nebraska. I can't exactly tell my 11-year-old daughter, Stella, we're going to rough it till dad gets paid. If you're able to finance me because I can't write you a $17,000 check, that is a different experience for the homeowner. A lot of your mom and pops do not have the financial backing to do so. Blue Collar Recruiter, when you look at the barrier to entry in HVAC, it's finding licensed technicians, holding them accountable, creating that culture that they don't want to leave. We use the Blue Collar Recruiter. They're the largest staffing agency in the North America when it comes to trade, specifically HVAC. So been awesome partnership for them with us so far. And then BDR, I wish every company was able to utilize these guys, but they play specifically kind of in the HVAC space. This is a company that helps small business HVAC owners get to profitability faster and not chase revenue. So they're looking at every dollar going into your P&L and really helping you, pull the correct levers to profitability faster. So this is the biggest build out I've seen with any of the 9 horsepower brands. And again, what makes a franchisee successful is someone's willingness to follow a play and be able to execute. That's really what this is about. And, the reason I think people move forward with horsepower isn't the industry. It's not HVAC. It's not roofing. It comes down to all the back-end support and the real-time transparency. But customer acquisition is a big one. As you launch 400 franchisees over the course of 3 years, you get really dialed in. So think of airtight playbooks of even if you launched a business for Varsity Zone in your market, joining a chamber of commerce, red ribbon cutting, local vendors, creating that buzz to filmed Super Bowl style commercials that are all over your websites, your social media to generate traffic to the website. Websites in general, just understanding SEO, the search engine optimization of the algorithm and signaling of Google. This is all done at the corporate level for our franchisees. So people are meeting with you, telling you in real time what you're spending on a lead, a mislead, a close lead. That data is so valuable to be able to pivot and pull the right levers to profitability. And again, I think that's one of the biggest differentiators is, again, having that back-end support. And my cheesy line is when people come meet the team for any of our brands in Omaha, Nebraska, the brand's just kind of the widget at first, right? They move forward with horsepower because it comes down to the infrastructure and support on the back end. So that's kind of my song and dance. So I'll stop sharing my screen and super appreciative of Todd and Brady for having me on today. And I loved everything about it.
Well, appreciate that a lot. As you can see, a lot of uniqueness with horsepower, like all 3 of these brands, whether it's in-home healthcare, whether it's HVAC, whether it's restoration, when you look at franchising, you're looking to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. And so whatever service line or product line you think has the most opportunity is one thing, but we're always looking for 4 C's when we help people locate franchises, and that's character, that's competency, that's chemistry, and that's culture. And so a lot of good examples of that here today. I've got my screen up again as we take a couple questions here to close out our time together. If you'd like to learn more about Varsity Zone, Assisting Hands, or True North, please feel free to scan this QR code. We'd be happy to get you in touch with any of these franchises or any of our other 300 franchises that we work with. In the next couple minutes, a couple questions that I wanted to pose to Greg, Stephanie, and Chris here is, who do you find is an ideal owner in your specific system? What's a non-negotiable that you've got to have if you're going to own a True North and Assisting Hands or a Varsity Zone? So we can go in the order that we presented. Stephanie, if you want to tell us a little bit about who the ideal True North owner is, that would be great.
Yeah, as I had said before, somebody who is interested in being a owner operator to begin and then grow into an executive business model. But most importantly, from a cultural standpoint, that you're really looking to be passionate about helping others, specifically stewarding your community. We don't think anybody's going to be passionate about cleaning up dirty water, but we do believe people want to make a difference.
Yeah, so I assume you can hear me, right? So, really what we kind of say is it's really a heart for the business, right? That's you. If you have some type of experience with your seniors or loved ones or something like that, you just you get it, you understand it, you connect, you understand the need. Those are the people who come in the business ready to really start to get moving, right? And besides the economic needs, right? So just general business acumen, right? People who've been successful business elsewhere should be successful in this business, right? So, and just somebody who wants to collaborate with the other owners and have a good relationship.
Yeah, and I'll echo that. Really, it's someone that wants to bet on themselves, right? Someone that wants to understand the journey's not always going to be easy, but has a willingness to follow a well executed play. And again, you join an ecosystem alongside all the other franchisees. Everyone's working towards the same common goal, right? You're never competing against your neighbor, and really bringing value to that ecosystem to make sure you leave it better than what you found it. That's really what we preach internally here for our franchisees as well.
Chris, I appreciate you bringing up the word ecosystem.
Hunger and grit, man. Hunger and grit.
Yep, that's right. That's the common ingredients. And Chris, I want to build off of that idea of an ecosystem, and maybe we'll go in reverse order this time for this question. But HVAC, restoration, home healthcare, there's plenty of players in each of those spaces, and that's not a surprise to anyone here. So for maybe a prospective franchisee, if they're approaching the idea of market saturation in each of these spaces, what are your guys' thoughts about operating in a space where there is a decent clip of competition?
Yeah, we encourage it, right? The more competition, the more saturation, that means it's proven and it's going to be there versus something that niche and you don't know what the ideal market looks like or how to grow it long term. So again, when you play in the home service like Horsepower Brands, it really comes down to us. It's the value proposition and the sales marketing technology. Like, we should be able to give a different customer experience based on all the internal verticals that support our franchisees in the blueprint, to where you don't have to worry if there's tons of mom and pops, right? Again, it's really about the customer experience. And if you focus on that, it doesn't matter the level of competition. You think HVAC, again, when I was going through this process and before I rolled out Varsity Zone, I met with about 30 HVAC companies in Omaha, Nebraska, the small mom and pops all the way to the guys that have 30 trucks in the billboards and commercials. They all said the same thing. Chris, you could drop 50 of these a year in Omaha, Nebraska. It doesn't matter. There's so much work as we continuously see in the HVAC space.
Thing to add to that too, when I got into business 13 years ago, I had conversations with people and they said, hey, there's a lot of you guys in the business, right? And other people I've talked to who started 15 years before I did said they had the same comment, right? So it really gets down to really just kind of good execution. Right. There's a lot of people kind of come and go in a lot of these businesses, right? But you have a proven model. If you've got that model, if you have the support of the network and the other people who've been successful, there's a model there that you can, just go execute for you to be successul. And that's really key. It gets to the model. And then, all these industries are industries that are growing industries at their core. And so, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So that's part of it as well.
Yeah, can't really echo too much more. For us specifically, in the restoration space, it's about compassion and empathy. I know that sounds corny, but when you present as a franchisee with True North, that client or customer feels really empowered that they know someone's going to take care of them in a really desperate need, and they tell all their friends. So marketing is amazing, but reputation and referral can really set you apart in a market very quickly. And again, as you had said, that the mom and pops, they don't have the same resources that a corporate supported franchisor can offer that their franchisees will have.
That's great. A couple good tidbits out of that. That is all we have for today. I really appreciate Stephanie and Greg and Chris joining us today. We set out today, regardless of where you sit on how this election shook out, we don't know what the next 4 years are going to look like. There are all sorts of twists and turns that inevitably are going to take. And so we wanted to present you with 3 distinct concepts that can provide a little bit of stability and dependability as we enter into a time that whether you're optimistic or pessimistic is unpredictable. And so we hope that you're able to really learn something out of this. Like I said, please feel free to scan this QR code to get more information on Varsity Zone, on Assisting Hands, or on True North. Really looking forward to continuing to collaborate with you here. Thank you to our participants. Thank you to those who were able to join us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Nice to meet everybody.
Good to see you. Thank you.